Good evening and welcome to the 2025 Annual Board of Education or Annual Meeting. We'll start with the introduction of our parliamentarian this evening. Mr. Chad Wade is here with us. And introduction of the Board of Education. My name is Corey Nickram, School Board President. Amy Reynolds is the Vice President. Robin Selly, Treasurer. Matt Loop, Clerk. And Mr. Kirk Lewis is the member. Introduction of the administration. Dr. Rob Abbott, Superintendent of Schools. Susan Ennis, Associate Principal. David Geiger, Principal at Luther Elementary School. Lisa Hollenberger, Director of Special Education and Pupil Services. Mary Kyler, Principal at Purdy Elementary School. Nathan Knitt, Director of Business Services. Laura Kraus-Emmerich, Associate Principal, Fort Atkinson High School. Amanda Mailing, Director of Buildings and Grounds. Amy Oakley, Director of Instruction. Adam Rousseau, Associate Principal, Fort Atkinson High School. Leanne Sherrill, Principal, Fort Atkinson High School. DJ Scullen, Director of Technology. Justin Stewart, Principal, Barry Elementary School. Mandy Turnbull, Director of Human Resources. Keith Van Gilder, Director of Nutrition Services. Jennifer Walden, Principal, Rockwell Elementary School. And Matthew Wolf, Principal at Fort Atkinson Middle School. Voter eligibility this evening is you must be a U.S. citizen, age 18 on August 21st, 2025. Resident of the school district of Fort Atkinson for at least 28 days prior to August 21st, 2025. All right, we'll move for election of chair.
I move to nominate Mr. David Musgrave.
All right, anybody else? All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All right, and those opposed? All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. First item is adoption of the special procedures for voters. The suggested procedures for participating in the annual meeting are found on page 5. A motion to adopt these procedures is needed.
Move to adopt.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Motion is to adopt the procedures as printed on page 5. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. And next we have approval of the 2024 annual meeting minutes. The minutes of the August 15th, 2024 and September 19th, 2024 annual meeting are printed on pages 6 and 7 of the packet. A motion to approve these minutes is needed. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Motion is to approve the minutes in the packet from the 2024 annual meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Next is to set the date and time for the annual meeting. The annual meeting will be held annually on the third Tuesday in August at 6:30 p.m. next year. A motion to approve the date and time for the 2026 annual meeting is needed.
You said Tuesday. This is Thursday.
Oh, did I say Tuesday? I must be city council on the brain here. Thursday. Thank you for the correction.
So move that the annual meeting will be held annually on the third Thursday in August at 7 p.m. Motion to approve. Move to.
6:30 p.m. Right, there's been a change, right?
Yeah, we changed it to 6:30. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, anyone else want to go?
We'll get this right yet.
Move to have the annual meeting held annually on the third Thursday in August at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, just for clarification, the motion is to set the annual meeting on the third Thursday in August at 6:30 p.m. in the year 2026. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion is approved. Next up is the President's Report. The President's Report is printed on page 8. President Corey Nickram will summarize the printed report.
Dear Fort Wayne community, I hope this summer has given you a chance to rest, recharge, and spend meaningful time with family and friends. As we turn our attention to another year of learning and growing, I would like to take a moment to celebrate some highlights from the 2024-25 school year. The open house events held in November of 2024 offered an opportunity to showcase and celebrate the completion of critical facility upgrades at all 4 elementary schools. These improvements were made possible by the community support of the November 2022 capital referendum. We are incredibly grateful for the support and investment, which allow us to continue offering the highest quality education possible while ensuring our schools remain places where every child can thrive. On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our students, staff, and families. Their hard work and dedication are the heart of our success. The accomplishments we celebrate today are a true result of the true partnership between our schools and the community we proudly serve. Looking ahead, we are excited to build on this foundation. With your continued support, we will reach new levels of excellence and innovation. Our schools will remain environments focused on high performance, and inclusive culture growth, and community distinction. Thank you for being an integral part of the One Fort community.
Thank you. Next up is the Superintendent's Report. This report is printed on pages 9 and 10. Superintendent Dr. Rob Abbott will summarize the printed report.
On behalf of the School District of Fort Atkinson, I'd like to thank our community for making the 2024-25 school year truly extraordinary. We look toward the year ahead. Our focus remains on fostering student growth and achievement. We have a lot to celebrate as we enter the final year of our 5-year strategic plan. Last August, I had the privilege of launching the last school year alongside our incredible district staff. And at that gathering, I offered a challenge to fully commit to making a meaningful impact on the growth and development of every student. This last year's theme of impact has been a powerful reminder that what we do each day truly matters. Whether in classrooms, offices, kitchens, buses, or maintenance rooms, every action we take shapes the experience and success of our students. With the steadfast support of our One Fort students, family, and staff, our community in the School District of Fort Atkinson continues to move upward together toward the summit. Our impact will the impact we make along the way is not just measured in outcomes, but in the lives we touch and the futures we shape. We are proud to share that the construction and renovation projects funded by the November 2022 capital referendum are now largely complete, and the results have been overwhelmingly positive. The updates have been very well received by students, families, staff, and community members alike. This milestone was made possible through the generous financial support of our community, and we extend another sincere sense of gratitude to all who voted to invest in the future of the Fort Atkinson School District. Public schools are the cornerstone of a healthy, thriving democracy. They are the only institutions in our society charged with educating all children, regardless of background, ability, income, race, religion, or need. They are where students not only learn how to read, write, and think critically, but where they also learn how to engage with others, contribute to their communities, and navigate a complex and ever-changing world. Public schools reflect the core values of an opportunity, that of inclusion and equity, and they serve as both mirrors and builders of the communities they represent. Yet, despite their essential role, public schools are facing continuingly significant challenges in today's political and economic climate. Increasingly, state and federal funding decisions have threatened public schools through reduced funding, expansive public school voucher programs, and legislation that undermines the ability of educators to meet the diverse needs of our schools and our public school students. These measures divert taxpayer dollars away from public schools and into private institutions that are not held to the same standards of transparency, the same standards of equity, or the same standards of accountability. This erosion of support risks widening the opportunity gap and weakening the very institutions that they serve the majority of America's children. In the School District of Fort Atkinson, we remain committed to serving all students, those with disabilities, those who are gifted, those who are learning English, those navigating poverty, and every child in between. We do not do this because it's easy, but it's because it's our right. Our mission is rooted in the belief that every student deserves access to a high-quality public school and prepares them to be successful in life, work, and citizenship. And to that end, the School District of Fort Atkinson holds a deep and enduring belief that the success of our students is rooted in both academic achievement and social emotional well-being. We recognize that these two areas are not separate, but they are in fact intertwined. Students who feel supported, connected, and emotionally safe are in fact better equipped to engage in learning, take academic risks, and reach their full potential. As such, we remain firmly committed to developing school improvement goals that address both of these foundational components. Our approach to school improvement is grounded in the belief that every child deserves to be seen, heard, and supported. While we strive for high levels of academic excellence through strong instructional practices, targeted interventions, and data-informed decisions, we also place equal importance on creating learning environments that promote belonging, resilience, and mental health. Whether through counseling services, behavior or support teams, or classroom strategies that build community and emotional literacy, we are actively working to meet the full range of every student in our public schools. I'd further like to extend my sincere gratitude for the dedication and hard work of our teachers and staff throughout the school district. Their commitment to creating a nurturing and dynamic learning environment has been instrumental in shaping the success of our students as well as strengthening our entire district. Through their efforts, they have shaped the lives of countless students, helping them unlock their potential and develop a lifelong love of learning. Their work has a lasting impact, and we owe them our deepest thanks and efforts as they continue to do their very best for kids. Now, as we approach the 2025-26 school year, we have a clear and focused path towards completing our goals in the final year of our 5-year strategic plan. The district will embark on a new strategic planning process over the next 6 months, focusing on renewing and refining our current priorities. Our ongoing dedication to our one team, one district, and one community continues to shape the meaningful learning experiences that every student deserves. This commitment reflects the true spirit of the One Fort Way.
Thank you, Dr. Abbott. Next is the academic report. The academic report created by Directors Lisa Hollenberger and Amy Oakley is printed on page 11, and Director Hollenberger will be giving a summary.
The 2024-25 school year represented the 4th year of our School District of Fort Atkinson strategic plan. This plan is supported by a school improvement plan structure and process to achieve the district's 5-year strategic plan goals. The school improvement plan process was intentionally designed to support the district's commitment to the integration and interconnectedness of social, emotional, and academic learning. This year, our instructional focus continued to be centered on the intentional integration of academic skills in reading and math with social and emotional learning competencies. Through collaborative efforts across classrooms, grade levels, and departments, we emphasize not only what students learn, but how they learn and interact with others. Our integration of whole child learning centered on continued learning around the implementation of 4 interconnected frameworks: the trauma-sensitive schools model, the neurosequential model of education, collaborative and proactive solutions, and the CASEL social-emotional learning framework. Rather than viewing these as separate initiatives, our aim was to align them into a cohesive whole child approach to supporting student success in all academic areas. Through monthly learning sessions, staff explored how regulation, relational safety, proactive problem solving, and social emotional instruction are foundational to both engagement and learning. Alongside this learning, a subgroup of K through 12 educators studied metacognition learning across the year in 4 sessions. This learning sessions focused on how to teach students to plan, monitor, and reflect on their thinking while they engage with academic tasks. This work is about aligning our efforts to ensure that we are doing the most important work in the most effective way. As a result, schools reported improvements in targeted academic growth, reductions in discipline referrals, increased student attendance, and stronger staff confidence in meeting diverse student needs. All students making a year's worth of growth continued to be a high priority for our 1-4 team over the past school year, especially in the areas of reading, writing, and mathematics. With a strong foundation in whole child learning, our teachers continued to receive professional learning on how best to provide strong instruction for all learners in reading, writing, and math. Through a continued commitment to implementation of research-based strategies and programming alongside data-responsive instruction, our teams monitored and collaborated on how best to support learning and growth for all students throughout the entire school year. Overall, we are confident that we are entering the 5th and final year of our current strategic plan, poised to maximize this momentum and finish strongly related to our instruction goals.
Thank you. Next is the Treasurer's Report. The Treasurer's Report, created by Treasurer Robin Selly, is printed on page 12, and she will be summarizing now.
Good evening. As treasurer of the School District of Fort Atkinson, I present a financial overview for the 2024-25 school year and offer an outlook for the upcoming 25-26 school year. Our district closed the 24-25 school year with a modest operating surplus due to disciplined budget management and forecasting by the board and by our administration team. Yet this current financial stability is also due to the community support for approving a 3-year operational referendum that is starting its 2nd year. However, systemic funding shortcomings at the state level continue to create uncertainty in future budgets that force us to rely on operational referenda to meet mandated educational services. With the new biennial budget coming into effect, there were modest gains for education. That being said, there are a couple of facts to keep in mind. When adjusted for inflation, Wisconsin's per-student school funding has lagged behind the national average since 2002. Per-pupil spending increased just 2.4% over this period, while the national average grew by 21%. The district makes up the difference in what it takes to educate a student and what the state provides per student. Wisconsin's special education reimbursement covers just 28 to 33% of actual costs, among the lowest in the nation, leaving Fort Atkinson to cover 60 to 70% from local general funds. Efforts to increase reimbursement to 45% in the 24 fiscal year and 60% in the 25 fiscal year were modest. Full adequacy of 90% would require nearly $1 billion in new state investment. If the state kept up with inflation and investing in special education, there would not be a need in Fort Atkinson for an operation referendum. There are some impacts of state funding that I want to go through. Pressure on local revenue. Our district must rely on referenda or property tax increases to maintain adequate staffing levels, provide varied levels and offerings of instructional programming, and support the district's general needs mitigated by inadequate state aid. We are required to shift a meaningful portion of our general fund to cover special education shortfalls. This limits our ability to serve all students equitably and invest in broader academic and wellness initiatives. State-imposed revenue limits restrict our ability to respond to urgent needs, whether classroom technology upgrades, mental health staff, or facility repairs, without voter-approved referenda. Despite these impacts by current state funding, the School District of Fort Atkinson remains committed to being a responsible steward of the community's resources. We strategically align staffing with enrollment trends, continuously evaluate programs, and assess position vacancies for opportunities to restructure through attrition. At the same time, we prioritize attracting and retaining high-quality staff by offering competitive compensation benefits. Above all, our unwavering focus is on student success. We are steadfast in our mission to cultivate an inclusive, high-performing culture of growth and community.
Thank you, Treasurer Selly. Next is the budget hearing. Nathan Knitt, Director of Business Services, will present the budget. A question and answer period will follow.
Thank you. Tonight, we will be going over the budget that was approved by the Board of Education back in July. Our strategic plan here at the School District of Fort Atkinson, our vision is achieving distinction in all we do, and our mission is to cultivate an inclusive, high-performing culture of growth and community. As mentioned at the board meeting earlier this evening, we have our 3 goals listed here. The school district leverages our resources for student success through student programming. We invest in our physical capital here at the district, and we aim to use our dollars to maximize that student success, and doing so in a fiscally responsible way. The annual budget process is listed here and has also been presented at board meetings previously, that the administration meets regularly on a monthly basis. In the end of the calendar year, a long-range projection is presented to the board. In April, we have a couple updates as we prepare the preliminary budget. In June, the first draft of the budget is presented. July, the second draft is presented and then approved by the board. We are at the August point this evening. It's the annual meeting of the electors. And then in August, the final budget and tax levy are approved. The estimates that went into this year's budget are listed here. With the new biennial budget, we saw an increase of $325 per member increase under the revenue limit. There was no aid offset. In the special education reimbursement rate world, it was increased to 42%, so not even meeting the 45% and 60% that Ms. Sully talked about in her treasurer's report. Those numbers, again, were not met. So we're looking at not even 42% in 25-26 and 45% the following year. And then we saw increases in the amounts both in and out for open enrollment, regular ed, and special ed. And we saw increases per pupil for voucher-eligible students. The revenue breakdown for the School District of Fort Atkinson is shown here. The school district receives just under half of our annual revenue from property taxes. We receive just over 42% in general state aid and an additional 4.7% in other state aid. So when all added together, over 90% of our revenue comes from state mandated and state limited amounts, that we can only receive so much in state aid and property taxes through the revenue limit, and the other state aid is on a per pupil member. So again, 90% of our revenue is outside of our ability to control. On the expense side, I do want to highlight salary and wages and benefits are the largest buckets of our expenses. When you think about education, our highest expenses are the people we have helping educate the kids in our community. So we are paying 41% for salary and wages, just over 21.5% for benefits. The added piece I do want to highlight, the interfund transfers. That is going from the operating operating budget to the special education budget to cover the cost of our special ed staff. So realistically, you can add the 41%, the 21.5%, and the 13% together, and you get about 75% there. And those are all expenses tied to people that we employ here at the district. The other pieces, purchase services, that is what we pay others for providing services. So you think electricity, busing, open enrollment, expenses out fall under that bucket. And then when you think of the physical things that we buy, so your supplies, your computers, et cetera, that would be your non-capital objects, and then the required insurances make up just less than 1% of our expenses. So we talked about percentages of expenses going out and our revenues as well. To tie some dollar amounts to that, Actually, yesterday and today, our district auditors were in helping to finalize the 24-25 fiscal year, so we only have estimated numbers on the left side there, but we are estimated to be running a surplus of $853,000. So again, we're having more revenues coming in than expenses going out. Our preliminary budget that was approved at the July meeting shows that we are in the red slightly. So we have $43.8 million coming in, and we have $43.85 million going out. The preliminary tax levy is shown here compared to what was actually assessed last year. So for 24-25, the total tax levy amount was $21,434,310, which equated to a tax levy rate of $9.02 per $1,000 of equalized property value. For the 25-26 preliminary tax levy, we see a total levy amount of $21,613,128, which represents a 0.8% increase year over year. You will notice the tax levy rate is going down as a whole, but that is because we assumed a 3% increase in property values. So yes, the levy amount went up by 0.8%, but our denominator in our calculation is going up by a larger amount, so we are estimating the tax levy rate amount to be $8.83 per $1,000 of equalized property value, which represents a 2.1% decrease year over year. We see here that our tax levy rate has gone down over time. In the 23-24 fiscal year, it was at $9.62. If you fast forward 2 years to our projected amount, we see that $8.83 again, and then we see the impact of the operational referendum no longer on the books, starting in the 27-28 fiscal year, when it's projected at this point in time right now to drop to $6.36. The other piece to note within that tax levy is the school district is responsible for levying for the private school vouchers. So we as the school district assess the taxes, collect them, but then those funds are immediately sent off to the voucher eligible schools. So within the $8.83 projected for a tax levy rate this year, $7.96 of that $8.83 comes to the district, and we assess 87 cents per $1,000 of property value here in the district for the voucher eligible schools. So just to emphasize, about 10% of the tax levy that the school district levies does not stay here in the district and is instead sent off to voucher eligible schools. We see that our tax levy rate at the district has decreased over time. It was historically, you go back about a decade, it was $11 per $1,000 of property value, and now we're at $7.96, but the voucher amounts have increased exponentially over time. It was 2 cents a decade ago, and now it's 87 cents per $1,000 of value. To put that into dollar amounts, you're looking at about $25,000, $30,000 a decade ago, and we are projecting to spend over $2 million on vouchers this year. So again, the school district is levying over $2 million that we do not get access to and cannot use for students in our district. To wrap up the presentation tonight is a reminder to the community on what will be happening now through the fall. So tonight is our annual meeting. On September 19th, that is the third Friday of September, and that is when we assess how many students are in our classrooms. So that's our pupil count. On October 15th, we receive final information from the state on voucher numbers, on the amount of aid we are receiving. Everything from the state is finalized and certified on the 15th. By November 1st, the school board will need to certify a levy, and then between November 1st and November 10th, the business office is responsible for sending the notices to the municipalities on what the tax levy is. With that, I would open to any questions or comments from the audience.
Okay, if there are any questions or comments, I would invite anyone to come down to the podium, please. Seeing none, I think we'll move along. Thank you. All right, next up is the tax levy adoption. The following resolution is recommended for adoption by the electors at the annual meeting. Be it resolved that a tax of $21,613,128 be levied on the school district of Fort Atkinson to fund the budget as proposed for the 2025-26 school year. Have a motion? Is there a second? And a second. Any discussion on the motion to approve the tax levy? Hearing none, motion is to approve the 2025-26 tax levy of $21,613,128. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion is approved. Okay, sale of district tangible personal property. Wisconsin State Statute 120.1012 authorizes the sale of tangible personal property belonging to and not needed by the district. The following resolution is recommended for adoption by the electors at the annual meeting. Be it resolved that the school board is hereby authorized during the school year to sell and dispose of any tangible personal property belonging to the school district of Fort Atkinson according to the board policy. The motion, is there a second? Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, motion is to approve the policy on the sale of district tangible personal property. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion is approved. Salary of board members. Wisconsin State Statute 120.10.3 authorizes the electors at the annual meeting to vote for annual salaries for school board members. The following resolution is recommended for adoption by the electors at the annual meeting. Be it resolved that an annual salary of $2,000 per member be approved for the members of the Board of Education. We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. And a second. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the salary of board members, $2,000 per member. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is approved. Reimbursement of school board members. Wisconsin State Statute 120.10.4 authorizes the electors at the annual meeting to vote for the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties. The following resolution is recommended for adoption by the electors at the annual meeting. Be it resolved, members of the Board of Education in the School District of Fort Atkinson be reimbursed for actual and necessary expenses when traveling in the performance of duties as a school board member. We have a motion. Is there a second? And a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, motion is to approve the reimbursement of school board members. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is approved. Next, we have recognition of Chris Rogers. The following resolution is recommended for adoption by the electors of the annual meeting. Be it resolved that Chris Rogers served as a member of the Board of Education of the School District of Fort Atkinson for 3 years. Be it further resolved that Chris Rogers devoted many hours serving on various school district committees as a member of the Board of Education. And now therefore, be it resolved that the School District of Fort Atkinson recognizes the service of Chris Rogers to the students and the community of Fort Atkinson. The motion, is there a second? Second. And a second, thank you. Any discussion? Motion is to approve the recognition of Chris Rogers. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion's approved. Thank you. Other new business? We have no new business to handle this evening, I don't, correct? All right, next item is adjournment. Motion from the floor for adjournment of the 2025 annual meeting of the School District of Fort Atkinson is needed. A motion is second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all.